Good day, this is Jack. I am an aircraft maintenance control engineer, and I'm going to be discussing some of the issues around chemtrail. Well, this video here, this series of video, the four of the cable, and it's a good series. It's revealed some of the truths with vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine. This has the most adverse event throughout the history of vaccine. So it is great in some part, but when it comes to chemtrail, the team making this video, perhaps they lack the professional aviation personnel. So they have been taken some of the photos or videos that is not as appropriate as the proof for chemtrail, and this is what I'll be discussing today. So please hear me out. Thank you. Now they have taken this photo. They probably did not take a photo, but they used this photo as their title, chemtrail here. And people might be wondering what this white and gray smoke is here, and there are also this black smoke coming out from the engine. Well, let's discuss about the white one first. So this is actually a B-47 bomber, and we can Google for its picture, and we can find the original one here, and it's been adopted by Wikipedia. So let's go have a look. So here you can see that it is directly on an air. It is just taking off from an airport. So if this thing is toxic chemical as claimed by chemtrail theory, well then they are probably going to kill all the personnel in this airport, and this is a military airport perhaps, so I don't think anyone would want to do that. And it also explains here this is a rocket assisted takeoff system that is used for heavily loaded aircraft to perhaps just boost the thrust when they need it to take off. Now this video claims that this white fluffy cloud has disappeared several years ago, but let's take a look of what this cloud is. So we search for the cloud type, and the results bring here, and we can see that it is probably these cumulus clouds here, or if they are higher in the sky and it comes with many more of them, then it's going to be autocumulus clouds. So let's search on YouTube, for example, and I have refined the results to lows within 1 year, and you can see here, for example, 8 months ago these white fluffy clouds are still there, and 3 weeks ago they are still here too. So this statement made in the video is just not appropriate. So the video says here, all of a sudden these planes are leaving these contrails in the sky, and this is probably an edited photo. As you can see here, if the sun is shining from the left, well then you have this part white and this part gray and black. But if you take a look at this one here, it is the opposite. The sun will be shining from the right. So you are probably not going to have these 5 of these aircraft lying up here. It is an edited photo. So now the video claims that these trails are staying much longer in the sky, and therefore they are chemtrail instead of contrail. And for people wondering why they become like tablecloth, it is really just how many planes there are in the sky, and they do come across within different altitude or in different time span. Okay, now we need to first know how does a contrail form. We can take a look at this chemical equation of fuel burning. Fuel plus oxygen equals carbon dioxide and water. And when the exhaust gases cool and mix with the surrounding air, the humidity becomes high enough because there are water as the result of the burning fuel, right? Or equivalent, the air temperature becomes low enough, then the liquid water will condense and occur. If they are high in the sky and the temperature is minus, then they will form ice crystals like the control you see. But if they are in the lower sky where the temperature is not that low, well then they are going to disappear soon. And we also need to explain a bit about the physics of diffusion. Take these orange dots or red dots as the water droplets or ice crystals in the sky that is coming off from the aircraft exhaust. Well, these, through time, will gradually, slowly becomes like this. This is the theory of diffusion. And when the humidity is high enough in the sky, meaning there are ice crystals like these already in the sky, well then your chemtrail is going to stay where they are for long, because there are quite a lot of these dots, a lot of these ice crystals around them already. They wouldn't want to diffuse. That's just the theory. So it is going to take longer for them to diffuse and become cirrus clouds, as claimed by these chemtrail theorists that those staying in the sky are toxic, but they're not. Another factor is this: when they are formed lower in the sky in the troposphere, this is where pretty much all the clouds form, and above that, literally no clouds. Really, just few clouds will form here. So, for example, this one. But when chemtrails are formed in the troposphere, well, you can see there is a lot of temperature variation here. So where there are temperature variation, that means the air goes up and down. Warm air goes up and cold air goes down. That means if chemtrail is ever formed here, it is likely very likely going to be blown away by this air movement. But when it is formed in the stratosphere, that's where most of the commercial airlines fly to avoid bumpy flight for you. And you can see that the temperature doesn't change here much. So the temperature here being not changing, and that will result into this air in this area stable and not moving. That is why when chemtrail is formed here, it is not going to disappear or diffuse soon. Again, the video claims that these clouds, these trails staying here are chemtrail. Well, we have to take a look at the clouds type again. Those are probably autostratus or at least cirro-cumulus clouds layer, perhaps with a bit of these two as well in that picture. Well, these are formed naturally actually, and you can search on YouTube the name of the cloud and how it forms, time lapse of APS-C actually. But anyway, so you can see them here. You can see how they form, and I don't think you will see a plane flying by. Even if a plane flies by, it will probably just leave a mark of its trail, because when it flies past, it is fast and it's going to disturb the air there. Now we have an interesting picture in this video, and these clouds here, they are probably these autocumulus clouds, and then this trail is quite likely, very likely, left by an airplane. And what I would like to show you is aerodynamic condensation. So that means when the humidity is high, for example in this foggy condition, when this plane is landing, low altitude by the way, the chemtrail or the water droplets would just form on the upper surface of the wing. And when it is in high altitude, it could happen as well, because when a plane is flying, all the surrounding is flying through cannot be the same. For example, I'm guessing if there is a hot spring down there and the water down there keeps vaporizing, well then you will have a certain area with high humidity. That's when the plane flies through, it creates these high altitude aerodynamic chemtrails. And then back to this one, you can see there are autocumulus clouds here. That means the humidity is high up there, forming these much ice crystals. And when the planes fly through, it will just create these. And by the way, it is created by the different temperature of the upper and the lower surface of the wing, because the wing works like this. The lower surface of that wing is of higher pressure, and the upper surface of the wing is of lower pressure. That's creating the lift for the plane to stay in the sky. And low pressure means lower temperature on the wing area. So when the water droplet or vapor or least water goes through the upper surface of the wing, it just condenses. Again, this video is showing some interesting picture here. I tried to Google it, and after quite a while I found this website here, which lists the area where it was taken from. So University of California, Irvine, at least it's Italian perhaps. So I searched that area, Irvine Flight School, and I found this one, Advanced Charter and Instruction. This is a flight school, and they've got this jet, single jet engine jet, which would match why these are here, only one trail. And when I search from University of California, Irvine to list advanced charter instruction, there is only a 4-minute drive. And when you look here, you will find this Silverado Mountain. So Silverado Mountains here, and you can see its condition. When it's in winter, it's covered by snow. That's where you see this picture, snow in this area, and these trails are probably left by that jet. You can see climbing here and goes up there, flying. Well, these student pilots, they just need to accumulate their flying hours and to finally get their license. So it is quite normal and all explainable for this condition. Now this video is saying that this aircraft here is releasing these, and they are chemicals, toxic and stuff. Well, this is just a firefighting aircraft. It's 747. You can see this one matched the airplane we were looking at, and so they just baselessly take every picture they can find and use them as their proof, which is really not appropriate, because it's going to mislead and misguide a lot of people. Okay, the video claims that through years of testing, I don't know where they got their data from. I would like to see if they can provide their data, their sources. But they're saying that through years of testing, they found all these metals in the chemtrail or in the contrail. Well, the fact is that an engine in its inner part, for example, this is the high pressure turbine section of the jet engine, and this turbojet has got this defect, hot gas corrosion. You can see it is not a new engine, and it's been blown by this high temperature and high speed exhaust from the combustion chamber that is powering and spinning the turbo fan in the front. So it is quite normal for erosion and corrosion to happen, and it is this that's dropping the metal particles behind an aircraft. And when that happens, you don't really need to worry about it, because most of these metals are just going to fall onto the ground or into the ocean, and they are not going to stay in the sky for you to breathe in. And even if they are absorbed by the plants, by the vegetables that you eat, it's going to be very limited amount, very small amount. And to enjoy traveling, to be flying, this is the consequence you need to accept. And I think it is the same with every vehicle that's using fuel as their powering source. So back to here, if you can have a look, the density is 4.507, and that it's going to be a lot higher than air. So when this thing come out from an engine, it's just going to fall. And we can also look up on the internet what these jet engines, what's their metal ingredients. So this one here say nickel and aluminum, and I know titanium is for their heat resistance. So that's probably why they use all these sorts of metals. And to some extent, it's going to be their business secrets, their commercial secrets. But I think you can still get the idea why these metals are there. And anyway, even if they fall out, they are going to fall onto the ground or the ocean soon. So the voiceover in this video is saying, "What are they doing in the sky?" Well, to me, this is an air show, and that's where you see this stuff and stuff. And do remember that when an air show is, when they are doing an air show, performing all these, the president of that country is probably down there watching this. So if you don't see him wearing a gas mask, then there's nothing you need to worry about. So it's again taking all sorts of picture to try to prove chemtrail is there, but they are just normal things you can see in your daily life. Now the video is saying that people are reporting having headaches, burning eyes, and feeling exhausted, and all sorts of disease. They are blaming all these symptoms to chemtrail, but these are actually quite common symptoms in modern people who perhaps sit in front of a computer all day long. And I think one problem is that people start to believe in chemtrail, and however they are just not there. All the chemtrails they see in the sky are just normal condition, normal phenomenon, and they are believing in it so much that in their minds negative thoughts are forming, and will that be the source of your headache? Possibly. So before believing what you're told, it is best that we can do some of our own researches and to find out whether what you have been told is believable, and that will make you feel much better if you know those are just ice crystals in the sky. So thank you, and I will continue on to the rest of the video in the next video. Thanks.